Welcome students. In the previous class we actually discussed about some characteristics of sound like loudness, and a second one is pitch, and the third one that is actually timbre or quality of sound. And also we know about that loudness is dependent on amplitude of sound wave, and pitch is dependent on frequency of sound wave, and timbre or quality which is depend on actually the types of wave. Okay, so actually it is depend on types of wave. Now actually, and also we discussed about in the previous class about music and noise, and also differences between music and noise. Now today we are going to discuss about some musical instrument. Okay, some musical instrument. In generally, musical instrument means the instruments that actually create sound or music. Okay, and musical instruments can be grouped into three main groups. Okay, basically it is classified into, or it is divided into three main groups. Okay, first one is wind instrument, and the second one that is stringed instrument. Okay, and the third one that is actually percussion instrument. Okay, this is percussion instrument. Now we just discuss about actually we just first about discuss about wind. Okay, wind instrument. What do you mean by actually wind instruments? In generally, for this case actually some examples of wind instruments actually flute, saxophone. Okay, this type of instrument, flute, saxophone, etc. And here we actually the pitch and frequency of wind instrument can be verified or can varied by changing the length of the vibrating air column. Okay, in general for wind instrument a air column is used, and if we change the length of actually the air column, then we can easily change the pitch and frequency of wind instruments like flute, saxophone, okay, etc. And also if we move to our next one, that is string. Okay, that is stringed. Then here actually we take some actually examples that are, what are the examples? Okay, we can take as violin, guitar, sitar, etc. Okay, we can take actually violin, guitar, okay, sitar, etc. And here also we actually use actually for different thickness of string, and we can create different types of frequency and also amplitude. Okay, here we uses different types of actually string. Okay, and the thickness of the string is different. For this case actually the tension force actually that act on the string is different, and frequency is dependent on tension of string and also mass. Okay, of string or mass per unit length. So for this case actually velocity of sound we can easily find out, and velocity is changed because velocity of sound is dependent on tension and also dependent on mass per unit length. So if velocity of sound is changes, also we can change actually pitch. Okay, for a different cross section area of string. Okay, now we actually move to our next one, that is actually the next one, that is percussion instruments. Okay, here we use different types of instruments such as actually drum, such as drum and also tabla, okay, dholok, etc. And here we actually use a membrane, and the membrane actually vibrates on beating struck. Okay, and for these cases actually these types are classified into two parts. Okay, one is pitched and the another one, that is we can say that unpitched. Okay, and what is pitched? Pitched means actually pitched instruments, they are the instruments that are used to produce sounds of more than one pitch. Okay, and they are generally used to produce musical notes, because for musical notes actually there are several actually sounds that have more than one pitch, like suppose tubular bells, okay, xylophones, etc. And for actually unpitched instruments, they are the instruments they produce actually no definite pitch. Okay, in generally they are used to provide rhythms, okay, or melody. Okay, this type of case. Examples, actually examples of unpitched instruments are actually snare drums, okay, etc. So for these cases actually this is the difference between pitched and unpitched instruments. Simply actually we can say that for pitched instruments they are used to produce musical tones, and there are actually more than one pitch. And for unpitched case actually there are no definite pitch. Okay, for these cases actually they are used to provide actually rhythms. Okay, and what is monotone? What is actually monotone? So in this case actually next one is monotone. Here mono means actually we know mono means one. So what is monotone? In generally for monotone, monotone is a sound which never changes, okay, or goes up or down is called a monotone. Okay, and a monotone sound never changes in pitch, loudness, timbre or in speed. In generally actually monotones means one single sound that has constant pitch, loudness, timbre and also speed. Okay, suppose if a person speaks in a monotone, then his voice is flat. Okay, and also it would seem if the person has no interest in the audience. Okay, because the tone is constant for all time and always. Actually pitch, loudness, timbre and speed is constant. That means actually the person who actually created who talks in monotone, then he would not able to communicate his message to his audiences. Okay, but for monotone, you have to remember the only pitch, loudness, timbre, and speed all is constant. Okay, and what is loudness? Unit of loudness. Actually, unit of loudness actually decibel. Okay, we already know the unit of loudness, that is actually decibel. We can say unit of loudness is decibel in system, and in generally actually human ears can pick the sound from 10 decibel to 180 decibel, and in generally 50 to 60 decimal 50 to 60 decimal. Actually this is actually simple normal sound. Okay, but if sound decimal or if sound up to 80 decibel can be tolerated. Okay, up to actually 80 decibel we can tolerate the sound. Okay, otherwise actually sounds above 80 decibel can harmful for our health or for our human effects. Okay, okay, so decibel levels actually must be less than 60 decibel. Okay, because in generally we tolerate up to 80 decibel. Okay, so more than 80 decibel, that means actually we actually face some harmful effect, or we face some problems. Okay, in our ears and also in our body. Okay, and in generally suppose uh, for actually different cases, different sounds or different loudness actually incident. Suppose for actually we can say from your book, for vacuum cleaner actually a sound created 80 to 85 decibel. Okay, and also for whispering actually 20 to 25 decibel is created. Okay, and for jet aircraft actually above 130 or 130 to 140 decibel is created. Okay, so we always want to create a sound the in the range between 50 to 60 or 50 to 80 decibel. Okay, actually this is the end of today's class. Here we actually discuss about just some different instruments and also their classifications, and what is a monotone, and also about unit of loudness. Okay, so here we actually, if we draw a concept map. Okay, concept map for this whole chapter, then we can write down like this. Okay, for this case actually sound is classified sound is classified at first. Actually you have to classify it, or sound wave is classified in different terms. Okay, here you have to actually uh, you have to read about amplitude. Okay, and the second one is frequency. Okay, oscillation, time period, and the last one is speed. Okay, so these are the terms, and the second one is actually propagation. Actually propagation of sound, that means why sound is wave is called mechanical wave. Okay, how it propagates, like actually due to compression, rarefaction, etc. And the third one, that is actually we have to discuss characteristics. Okay, characteristics. And this part actually also uh, separated, or this part for this case actually we can take that three part. Okay, the first one is actually loudness or intensity, second one is pitch, and the third one is timbre or quality. And how actually they depends on different actually parameter. And in other part actually we have to discuss about music and noise, and how they are classified, or how actually we can differentiate music and noise also. And another part is actually we can discuss about musical instrument. Okay, different types of musical instrument or instruments and their classification. And for this case, the last one, that is actually unit of loudness. Okay, so these are the actually concepts. And also here you have to discuss for musical instrument three types. Okay, so first one is actually there are actually three types. That means actually you have to classify it like wind, strings. Okay, so here you have to classify wind, string, and also the third one. This is the third one. Okay, so in this way actually you just draw a concept map, and also actually remember all these things. Okay, that is related with sound or the whole chapter. Okay, so this is the end of actually today's class. Okay.